Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Lisa, and today I'm going to tackle a really hard subject, but I think it's important to get out there, and I think it's important for new homesteaders to know about. And the reality of it is loss. Loss on the homestead is inevitable. And, you know, as we talk about in our podcast on Around the Hay Bale, a homesteader is, you know, a pretty broad definition, right? Whether you're a homesteader or a farmer, they could be interchangeable. Some people may not see it that way, but loss is inevitable and you're going to have to deal with it. And it's hard. It's really hard. So if this is not what you want to hear about today, stop the video and go on. And please, no nasty comments, because I feel really passionate about this. And I feel it's an important topic to cover. So how do you lose animals, right? Predators. Predators can come and get your animals no matter how much you predator-proof your runs, protect your animals. Predators get in. Illness, injury, old age, sudden death, healthy 1 minute, dead the next. And even processing, you know, even when you process animals and you think, well, processing, you're choosing to process them. It's still a loss, right? But that's a different kind of loss. So let's talk about the first bunches except for processing. So a month and a half ago, we had our chickens attacked by a dog, a neighborhood dog. I was shocked. And then I was angry. I was so angry, I was uncomfortable because I was that angry. And I had nasty thoughts. Nasty thoughts. I want to be clear, I didn't act on them. And I did the right thing. But I'm sharing and being vulnerable with you to let you know, because it's the truth. It's emotional because my chickens are laying hens, and so we get a lot of joy out of them, like we do all of our animals. We love all of our animals. And people say, how could you love them if you're going to process them? We do love them. We love them every minute they're here, and we give them the best life. But we also know at some point we may have to take action. And whether it's processing because that was what their purpose was, or because their job on the homestead is fulfilled and they no longer can fulfill it, or if something happens to them, you have to be humane. In addition to our chickens, we've lost numerous turkey chicks. You know, you get excited, 28 days, you're waiting for that hatch, you get a good hatch rate, and they die. They're healthy 1 minute, they're dead the next. Here's the other reality, in addition to emotional. It's an investment, right? Because, and don't give me flack about it, okay? If you don't agree, just click and go. Really, I respect that. But the reality of it is it's an investment. So when I'm pouring in all the time to hatch eggs and trying to raise turkey babies, I'm trying to raise turkeys for my family. Now, luckily, we have a work income that can support us. I don't want to eat meat from the store, but if I had to, I could. But there's a lot of people who depend on their animals to feed their families, whether it's from a monetary gain or from the meat that they raise. One example is several years ago, there was a storm Atlas that came through South Dakota, and it was a blizzard. And the snow came so fast and furious that across the entire state of South Dakota, cattle were dead. Cattle were killed by the storm, and it was a catastrophic loss. And I'm sure it affected other states. I just know the history from South Dakota. But it was a catastrophic loss that is still talked about here because people depended on it. Just like last year or 2020, when we know what was going on and all the hog processing plants were having issues and the farmers had nowhere to bring their hogs. So I just want to raise the topic, and I'd like to know in the comments below, how do you deal with loss on the homestead? And I'm not asking because I'm sitting here either acting flippant about it or overrun with emotion by it. I deal with it in my own way. You just don't see it. If you think that when we had to dispatch 2 chickens that were 2 of our favorites, when they had sustained serious injuries, and you think that we didn't cry, you have another thing coming. A lot of tears were shed over that. But I raise this because I've been thinking about it and dealing with it and reflecting on it. And I just think it's something that is not talked about very often. I think that we all like to show the good side of things. And even though I'll show the truth and say, hey, I screwed up, or, you know, in one of our lives, I'll be like, hey, we lost an animal, or, you know, I said, hey, we lost our chickens. I don't think it's talked about enough. And I think for a lot of new homesteaders or farmers, people don't realize how much they're going to deal with it. And, you know, for me, when they die on their own, it's a lot easier to deal with. But when you have a suddenly healthy chicken and you go in the coop and you come out and she's laying there peacefully and she suddenly died for no reason, it's kind of weird. And, you know, I think it goes back to the investment thing. If you talk about the loss we had with our chickens, and this is just rough loss, the cost of the chicks, rough estimate, the cost of the chicks, and the loss of eggs for about 8 months was what we figured, because some of them were like Easter eggers and the breeds that lay later. And that was about $700. So we're losing that in egg sales. And I'm not asking for pity. I just want to point that out, that it's real. You lose the egg sales, right? Or if you lose a pig, or you raise 1 cow a year and you lose that cow, you lose all your beef for the year. So what are some things that you can do to deal with it? If you need to cry, cry. Take a walk and reflect on things. But it's really important to be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, lean on one another, and not let it overcome you. Because I'm sure it could easily do that. I know for me, years and years ago, I couldn't have handled all this. I couldn't have. I think my career toughened me up and taught me how to partition things off and deal with things a lot better, because I dealt with trauma and sadness every day in people's lives, but not everybody does. So I think that it's important to understand what your limits are, understand what the strengths and weaknesses of what your team is, so you can use them to your advantage. But I know now I'm able to handle things a lot better than I did. And now there's the emotional side, but there's also the business side. And the business side is, you know, let's do what we can to keep this turkey alive, but at the same time, I'm not in charge of this turkey's life. There's a power much greater than I am that is going to determine whether that turkey lives or dies, right? And so I just don't want you to think I'm cold-hearted, but I just wanted to raise the topic, and I hope that other people will talk about loss and how it's affected them. If you do decide to post a video on loss and how it's affected you and how you've dealt with it, I think it would be really great for our community. Or even what your experience was the first time you processed an animal. I think that that could be pretty powerful for people to know that we're human beings, and it's never easy. If it was easy, there'd be something wrong with us, because we're human. So if you think that we don't care about our animals, you're wrong. They bring me joy every day. I'm sitting here right now looking at turkeys flying up on the fence, trying not to laugh while I talk about a serious subject. And that's the joy that they bring. Well, guys, I know it was a downer today, but I really felt compelled to share this. So I hope you'll be kind in the comments. And if you know somebody who could really use this, I hope you'll show it to them. If you have any questions, or you're struggling with something and you want to email me, my email's on my About page, and I'm happy to answer any questions or tell you how I take care of myself. But hang in there, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Take care.